Hello, all my crafty people out there. It's time for our weekly project. This week, I am doing up something I've been wanting to do for a little while. If you haven't been here before, my name is Stephanie, and I upcycle clothing generally from my local thrift stores, and I either make new clothing or accessories. So, what we're going to be doing this week, I found this really super comfy, cute plaid shirt, and oddly enough, it's a woman's shirt. Not my style at all. But it's got these, I think it's supposed to be for rolling up, the 3/4 sleeve. And I want to do something different. So it's just a plain little 2-pocket shirt. It doesn't even have buttons on the pocket. We could change that up. Who knows. But I think we're going to jazz it up a bit. And we're going to use these. I don't know if they're napkins. I found them in a bag that my mom got from some coworker that used to do some sewing. But there's 4 of them. They're white and they're kind of like an eyelet. So I have 4 of these. And I have some good old, I haven't used before, Battenberg lace. So, let's see what we can do to make a nice, comfy, wear-all, fun shirt. If you like this kind of content, or if you want to see how it turns out, like, subscribe, follow along, and let me know what you think. I'll see y'all at the table. Okay, everybody. This is the blouse or shirt that we're going to be working with. It's a simple plaid shirt. It's just a good old St. John Bay. It's not expensive, but I just love the colors, and I thought it would be a lot of fun to change up the sleeve on. And we're also going to decorate the back. So I have some Battenberg lace we're going to use on the back, and what we're going to use to change up the sleeve is these, or are these pretty, they look like, they're kind of like an eyelet, I guess, for lack of a better word, and they're perfectly square. They're kind of like a handkerchief. So what would you do with the handkerchief? Let's make a handkerchief sleeve, bell sleeve at the bottom. So I'm folding these in 4 like that. And I'm going to show y'all how we're going to cut these. And of course, we're going to have to do some math, but don't worry. I've already got the basics worked out. I don't mind math, just don't mind doing it on the spot. So those are our sleeve extensions that will be bell or handkerchief ends to the sleeves. I have marked my sleeve right here where I want it to meet, turn it this way, where I want it to meet my elbow. I want it right below my elbow to start this part of the sleeve. So there's one thing in here I want to get rid of. It's I pinned it kind of accidentally. It's the little tie that you use to fold the sleeve up. That's going to have to go, but I'm going to push it back so I don't cut it yet. I think we've had this discussion before where we may or may not use it. Who knows. So I'm going to cut one sleeve, and then what I'll do is I will cut the other one using this as a template. I figured that would just be easier. So I'm going to straighten it up here. Let's see, kind of like that. And I think that's a good straight edge. I don't really need this because it's plaid and I can see where I'm going. So I've already ironed the sleeve too, just to make sure it was nice and tight. So let's grab our handy dandy ruler that hangs onto the edge over here. Try to pull it out as straight as you can. And I'm going to cut past it just a bit because you got to have a little bit of a seam allowance. Let's see. Let's make sure we get it as even as possible. Now, it's not going to be 100%, but I'm not even sure if I believe in that statistic. So let's just cut it. And if you feel like you need to cut it a little longer so you've got some leeway, that's fine too. Now we're going to take and cut this side. And I am going to turn it to face each other, right sides together, or what would be, I guess, the way it would face. I'll toss that little tie back there. I will cut it off, but I don't want to cut it off yet. Alright, so let's use this as our guide. Make sure we got it lined up. We don't want our arms to be crooked. Not particularly, at least. Whoop. Now I realize it looks a little crooked, but that's okay. Just as long as this is pretty spot on. Okay. I think that does it. Let's see if we got about the same length here. Looks pretty good. All right, now we've got our sleeves cut off. We want to see what the circumference of our sleeve is. And the best way to do that is to lay it flat. I'm using one with a little bit bigger numbers, but I don't think that's really coming through. And this length is 7 1/4. So what we do with that number is we take 7 1/4 and we multiply it by 2. And that gives us 14 1/2. So the whole sleeve all the way around is 14 1/2 inches. So then we take that 14 1/2 and we divide it by 6.28. I'll try to give you all the reasoning behind that number. It has to do with pi. So if we take that, we get 2.3. All right. So what we're going to do with that 2.3 number is we're going to take our little handkerchiefs here, and we folded them in quarters. So it's folded once, once and then again, and we've got it angled like this. And we're going to go 2.3, which is a little more than 2.5, but not too, no, I'm sorry, a little more than 2.25, but a little less than 2.5. It's kind of in between. It's not a great exact science as far as trying to do it with inches here. We could get in there nitty gritty and probably do it with millimeters or something crazy like that. But I'm going to put my ruler right here on this corner. And I'm going to take my little marker here. And I'm going to go up to, and not quite, let's see, it's somewhere in between the quarter and the half. So about here and about here. Okay? Now, there's all kind of schooling on how you can get the arch. But, it's not hard to draw an arch at this small point. But what you can do is you can just lay your hemming ruler out and kind of space it in little spots like this. Doesn't have to be continuous. Just enough for you to be able to draw your line. Okay? So once you draw your line, I'm going to put a little pin in it because this is really lightweight fabric. You're going to take and cut your corner. Okay? Like that. This gives you a circle that you don't need. Boop. But it also gives you a hole to put your sleeve through. So we're going to attach our sleeve to this at this point, right sides together. In other words, we're going to fold this right sides up the sleeve, and we're going to sew a seam around it. And this is going to create our bell sleeves. Now let's go do it to the second one, and then we'll go to the sewing machine. Okay, before we ease this piece onto the other sleeve, just in case it's a little big, you know, we always want to put a little easing stitch in. Now, that is really helpful with cotton. If you were using something jersey or stretchy, you probably wouldn't have to put an easing stitch in. You could kind of stretch it into shape. But in this particular case, we want to put a little bit of an easing stitch in. So I'm going to go to about 1/4 inch mark up from the edge, and I'm going to sew all the way around the circle. And when I do that, I'm going to pull up my threads because I want to have both of these threads trailing down around it so I can pull them, because you're always going to pull your bobbin thread when you do this. It's just like a gathering stitch. So I'm going to change my stitch length to 3.5. That should be pretty broad. And I'm just going to start anywhere in the circle, and I'm going to run 1/4 inch around it. And like I said, we're just going to use this to ease the sleeve in and keep it from gathering or having to be pleated or something like that. Okay, I have found, after you cut the little tie off, this is the tie that would help you keep the sleeve rolled up. It's nothing fancy, just snip it off. You might not have one, I do. So what I have found makes this a little easier. After you do the little basting / gathering stitch around the circle, it's best to go ahead and just give it a little bit of gather. So you just want to gather it a little bit. I might be pulling on the wrong. I didn't do 2 different colors, so I'm not sure if I'm pulling on the right one or not. Let's see which one moves better. There we go. So just going to put a little bit of gather all the way around. And when I say little, I'm just barely gathering it. This is just going to make it easier to ease into this sleeve. And in this particular project, if I have a little gather, it's just going to make the sleeve look even better because it's going to give it more flair. So not going to hurt anything for sure. So I'm just gathering it a little bit. And you can judge how much you want to do that. It's kind of hard to gather over these little eyelet pieces. They are texture and a pain. So now I've got it gathered a little bit. And I have figured out also that I'm going to use these creases that I made when I folded it. So I'm going to put one of these creases on the seam. That's the only one I'm really worried about matching up. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I think, this is the wrong side, I think that will keep it kind of even when it falls. It won't look funky, should I say. So now I'm just going to pin it around and use that gathering stitch to kind of ease it into place. It takes a little finagling, but you just have to kind of work with it. I haven't found the perfect formula to get this to work. This is as close as I've gotten. But maybe your math will be better than mine. Mine's only calculator driven. So once we get all this done, we'll go over to the machine and we'll sew around the edge. And that will complete our sleeves. Other than we'll probably flip them over, you know, obviously flip them out and do a top stitch on them just to make sure they're nice and clean looking. Now that we've got the sleeves attached, what we're going to do is we're going to push the seam up towards the top of the sleeve, so towards the shoulder, and we're going to top stitch over that. That'll keep that nice and clean. Now another thing you could do is you could take it to the serger and serge it off as well. That would keep it clean as well. We're just giving it a little extra security and maybe a little better look. So again, I'm taking the seam, pushing it towards the shoulder, back towards the shoulder, and I'm going to top stitch around the edge. Okay, now we've got our sleeves on, which I think y'all are going to really like. They turned out super cute. So we'll see that in the reveal. Now let's look at the back. We got a big wide canvas here. Canvas. And I have these pretty Battenberg doilies, for lack of a better word. And there's two sizes. There's the big and the little. And I have already washed them, which they came out a wrinkled mess, so I had to press them. And I'm hoping that me pressing them will keep them somewhat in good shape when I wash this, you know, especially since I'm going to stitch it down. So what I thought, I want something simple. Thought what I'd do is just a simple one small one over the shoulder, one larger one right here in the center, and I will check the center. But actually, it's pretty easy. Here's the seams that go up the back. So I think that's pretty well centered right there, actually. I might bring it up a little, bring this one down a little. So don't want to match, I don't want them touching per se, but I do want them to be close to each other. And then the third one, I'm just going to put down here. Call it my snowflake inspiration after last week. And that's all I want to do. I just want to kind of create a pattern in the back that doesn't necessarily have to be symmetric. I guess it's sort of symmetric, but you know what I'm saying. Or should we do this? No, that looks like dinnerware. No, I think I like this, but I could overlap them. Maybe that's better. Let's overlap them like that. Something like that. Maybe that's better. Okay. Anyway, however I do it, I'm going to pin these three down on this back, and I'm going to sew around them as best I can. I'm not sure if I'm going to get in each of these little dips, but I am going to get the full circle on the outside and probably on the inside, just to make sure they're nice and secure. And then we will try it on. All right, y'all. I think it turned out pretty good. I'm excited. I am super excited about the sleeves. They did exactly what I wanted to. This would be an easy change up for just about any kind of shirt you wanted to do this to. You know, 1/4-inch sleeve, long sleeve. You could probably make the bell long and do it from a short sleeve if you wanted to. So, and I like the Little decoration on the back there, little Battenberg lace. It's white, it's simple, but it has a little extra. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I had a good time, and if you did, like, subscribe, let me know what you think, share, and I will catch y'all on the flip side of our next project.